Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share another take on a gatefold card. I've been doing a lot of gatefold cards lately, and this is one that I just, I loved all of the flowers on it. I love the springy, cheerful nature. It's just kind of a fun gatefold, like a garden gate. That opens up and you can put your message here. You could put your message on the back if you wanted to put some more flowers or plants in the middle. I'm going to do it just slightly different because I don't love the way that gate comes together. And so I'll show you how I did it. So let's get started. So we're going to start out with a piece of card. It's 5x7. It's a 5x7 card. So I have a 5x7 card in a light blue, and I'm just going to put some white pigment ink with my finger dauber to try and make some sort of what looks like clouds in the background, so that's not just the solid blue. And there's no, I mean, you can use a stencil, but honestly, I'm just trying to get some ink on it. And so just kind of take some ink and smear it around. I mean, clouds are sort of random anyway, so if you wanted to use a stencil, you could. And I have a cloud stencil, but I'm just not going to bother because you just want a varying degree of white and blue showing through to make it look like a sky. And that's all I'm going to do. And a lot of it's going to be covered up anyway, so it's not like, doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp our tree in the background. And this tree is it's one of the layering stamps from Crafter's Companion, and it's the it's like a layering stamp, and then there's like 3 layers of leaves, and I'm not going to use all of those, but I'm just going to stamp it up with some brown. This is Seal Friar Brown with my quick dry. And I've got just a piece of green cardstock that's 5 inches wide that I just tore kind of this to look like the ground. And so I'm using that to try and judge where I'm going to put my tree. But I want to put my tree on first because I want it to sort of be in the background. So it's going to be about right there. And I'm going to put it off to one side because I'm actually going to put 2 trees in. So let's get that nice and stamped. Now you could use a stamping platform, but because this is in the background, it's going to be, a lot of it's covered up. If I don't get a perfect stamp, I don't care that much. And then I'm going to just try and use a 2nd generation stamp in the back. So you get just that little bit of a, and I'm going to go ahead and do a 3rd. And I don't care if the trunk is not really full because there's going to be flowers and stuff over it anyway, so it's not going to show. And then I've got 2 of the layers of foliage, and I'm going to use one that I'm going to use to do leaves. And I've got green topaz. And I didn't line these up like you would normally do a layering stamp, honestly, because I don't think you really need to. I mean, you're just trying to kind of get it to cover the tree. I don't care if it's perfect. So let's put it on there. And then we're going to do a 2nd generation on that one. And a 3rd generation back there. And it just gives you a little bit of a sense of a forest. And then I'm going to use another layer of the layering stamp. And I'm going to do some pink tulip to make it look like a flowering tree. And the pink's not going to show up really well on this blue, but it'll give it a little bit of color, I think. And we're just going to... And it's meant to be 3 different layers of foliage, but I'm going to use some color. And so you can see that it's fairly subtle. Because it's so subtle, I'm going to go ahead and ink it for the other one back here. And then I'll do a second generation back there. It just gives you a little bit of a subtle color. It's just for background anyway, so, but I do like the looks of that. And if you're curious what stamp set that, it's this stamp set. I think it came with the Autumn Leaves collection. The Autumn Leaves collection a couple years ago, perhaps. Because I think it's meant to be autumn colors, but I like it that way. And then we're going to put our green on there, like that. Yeah. I'll go ahead and put my green on. Probably should have stamped one of the trees in front on top of the green, but that's okay. Looks like I'm gonna have to refill my tacky glue is getting empty. And just line it up. Okay. And see, that's what I meant by you can't really see the bottoms of the trunks anyway, so I don't really care. Now I'm going to create my trellis. And the die that I used was this one. This is from the Crafter's Companion Screen Dies, the Wedding variation. And I just cut 3 of them, and I'm going to put one on each side, like this. And then I'm going to use this one to create a top across the top. Okay, just like that. I'm going to put the one on the top first, like so, and then I'll put these over the top of that one. And then on this one, I actually trimmed that out so that they're not overlapped. But by the time you get all the flowers on there, you can't see it anyway, so I'm not even going to bother to do it. All I'm going to do is glue this one on, and then I'm going to trim that edge off, of course. So, get a little bit of tacky glue on there. So let's get this one across the top. It doesn't have to be right at the top of the card, just get it up there. And then I'm going to trim that edges off. And this is another one of those, don't be afraid to snip into your dies, and don't, necessarily use them exactly just only how you think that they were meant to be used. You can look at your dies and see what you can make out of them, or how you can use pieces of them. This is cut out of white Centura Pearl with a touch of gold. I thought about doing it out of like a black Centura Pearl or even a wood grain, but I kind of, because it was so summery and cheerful, I wanted to do. And I'll put it right up at the top. So just like that, right up on that edge. I'll put this one on this edge. going to do is I'm going to actually cut right around here, across the top and around there, to just round the edges of the card. One, because I think it softens it, so it's not so square, harsh, I don't know, whatever. And I like the shape. And it also allows you to cut off any of that extra, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my garden gate on now. So I just used a couple of, these are 1 inch by 2 inch, and I scored it at 3/8. And I'm going to put these on the back like this, and then attach my gate there. Now, how did I create my gate? I don't have a gate die, or I do, but not big enough. So I do have this fence die from something, not even sure what it's from. And so I cut 2 of those, and I'm going to snip into it to create my gate. Because the first one, I'll show you. If you can see from the back, I just kind of cut it off like right here at the edge. But what that does is because these don't stick down as low as that, when it stands up, it kind of leans forward. So I wanted to create one that has both of these, I think they're called newel posts, or I don't know, whatever these posts. And so I needed to overlap. But it's 2, I only need 2. So I'm gonna take one of these off. And again, snipping into my die. And we're just gonna overlap it and glue it right like that. And then you can see that edge, but it won't be noticeable by the time you get all the flowers and stuff on it. So, and just get it nicely lined up so that it's perfect. Thankfully, this die is a repeating pattern, so it's really easy to do that. Now, if you look closely, you can certainly see where that seam is, and you could probably find a way to do a little bit better job of it, but it's fine. And so now these will still overlap, but they'll be like that. And then when it's standing up, since these are level, it won't lean because of that. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my little hinges onto here, onto these posts. And we're going to put them right there. Ooh, did I make it too wide? No, I think that'll be okay. I probably should, I scored it at 3/8. I probably should have done 1/4 just to make sure that you couldn't see it. But I think it'll be fine. I just want to kind of put it up against that edge. Like that. And then we're going to glue this onto the back of this blue card. And you want it so that these bottom pieces are level with the bottom of your card. So just like that. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And that'll create our little gate. And that creates our gate. And we've got a little bit of an overlap, and I'm okay with that because when it sits, it'll stand up nicely. Okay. I could have cut it a little bit shorter so that the posts, you know, came together either exactly or a little bit off, but I think it's fine. I'm not too worried about that. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to mount it just on a piece of 5x7 white cardstock that covers up my hinges, gives me a little more strength, and then I'm going to trim that top to match. And this way you have a nice white card base on the, or, you know, card on the back So if you wanted to write a message or put your sentiment on the back, you could do that. And it covers up those little hinge things. And now it's just about decorating. So I've cut a ton of flowers. I used the smallest, or well, about 3 or 4 different sizes from the hydrangea dies, from a hydrangea collection die. And I'm not going to layer them. I'm just going to use them just like that. Some more pink ones over here. And all I did is I just cut them, and then I used my gold aqua pen and just put a dot essentially on the inside of them to create the center. And then I cut a bunch of foliage using various foliage dyes, and I'm just going to kind of layer that foliage in. Let's see. I got a bunch of different foliage that I'll use. Let's see. I'm going to start with the larger pieces of foliage. And you just start layering in flowers and foliage wherever you want it. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, and then we're going to do the gates. On the other one that I did, I put some acetate behind the gates, just because I thought it might, one, help strengthen it since, but I didn't do it on this one because I have the gates basically double strength Centura pearl, so I don't need it for strength. And it does make it a little bit easier to glue the flowers on because you have something underneath to glue to. So you have to be careful that you don't press this in and get it, glue it on the back piece. But we're just going to be careful. Oh, the one thing I did is I put a little 2-piece or 2" by 4" strip of cardstock in, and I stamped my message on there. I'm not gonna stamp my message because I don't know what sentiment I want, and that kind of covers up that bottom end. And then what I did on the other one was I put a few little remaining flowers just kind of on the edges, just to kind of finish it off. And that's your card. That's it. Pretty easy to make. I love all the flowers. I think it looks really, really pretty. It's nice summer garden feel. Anyway, thanks for watching.